What is up? Good Mic Work commentaries back at you with episode 472, up here to give you your go-home Clash of Champions Smackdown review for December 12th, 2017. I will also predict the full Clash of Champions pay-per-view card. The Clash, of course, comes to us this Sunday on the WWE Network. In addition to that, I will also touch on Monday Night Raw. As has been the case in the past few weeks, I was up here on Monday night for a live Raw review and Q&A and chat and discussion. I've been doing that in the past several weeks, so I'm only going to kind of touch on Raw at the end here, talk about some of the bigger angles, what's going on with Braun, Strowman, and Kane, who's going to challenge Brock at the Royal Rumble, the Rich Swann situation, and stuff like that. So hang tight till the end of the commentary, we'll discuss that, but I'm going to start this week with SmackDown Live and Clash of Champions predictions. Part of the reason I'm doing that is because some of my recent commentaries have been light on the views, and I think a big part of that is because I'm coming up here on Monday nights and doing live streams talking about Raw, and then I'm coming up here in my normal podcast episode and rehashing a lot of that. So I'm going to do it a little bit different this week, and we're going to put Raw, an extremely condensed version of Raw, at the tail end of this commentary. For those of you who did join in this past Monday night, I do want to apologize for the audio. I had come up, as I normally do, I was about 5 minutes into the live stream when a few people were mentioning in the chat that they couldn't hear me, that there was no sound. Instead of checking on it myself, I immediately just took their word for it and started fiddling with shit and unplugged my microphone. And when I plugged it back in, my streaming software didn't pick it up, and it defaulted to the camera, to my webcam microphone, which sucks. And I was really upset that that had happened, but it didn't bother most of you. But I prefer my nicer microphone instead of the shitty one that we used on Monday. So I do want to apologize for that, even though most of you feel that there's nothing to apologize for. Anyway, let's move on now, and we'll talk about SmackDown first. SmackDown, you know, for a go-home show, there wasn't much here. And I've been saying this in the past couple of weeks, ever since Survivor Series, that this is a really down time in WWE historically every single year. And we've got a long time until the Royal Rumble. So on Raw, they're really spinning their wheels. They're really trying to kill time. At least SmackDown has one pay-per-view in between. But after that, you're still going to have 5 weeks or so until the Royal Rumble. So it's just a boring time of the year. It's supposedly WWE week this week on the USA Network. They're doing Raw. They're doing SmackDown. They're doing the Tribute to the Troops, which airs, I don't even know when that airs, maybe tomorrow. So even though you have all sorts of programming going on, you have a whole lot of nothing taking place on these programs. So SmackDown tonight was not that great. I think every single match, with the exception of one, had a fucking guest commentator. That was driving me crazy. These are such basic, generic, ideas for furthering of storylines that you can have. I can just see them written in books. You know, whenever you're trying to hype a match for the next pay-per-view, a lot of these are done the same way. Every year, every time, no matter who's in the feud, they just shuffle shit around. Especially when tag teams are involved, two members face each other in the ring while the other two are on commentary, and then the next week they flip it. We see that on Raw and on SmackDown, and tonight was just incredibly frustrating just because there was no anticipation for the Clash. You know, luckily we all subscribe to the WWE Network. We already pay $9.99, so the Clash is there for us to watch. So we're going to watch it. But if this was something we would have to, like back in the day, call up our cable operators and order for $40, fuck you. Now, I think the pay-per-view has potential because, like we've seen so many times with pay-per-views that really don't look like a whole lot on paper, the talent comes through. And SmackDown and Clash of Champions is loaded with talent. So if all this talent can come through and give us a good, fun night of wrestling, that's really the best we can hope for. So the show opened up, SmackDown did, with an AJ Styles promo. He's in the ring with the Singh brothers. They come out there. They're trying to make friends with AJ, trying to apologize to him, saying that Jinder is abusive and all of the things that Jinder makes them do. Talked about kissing his feet, and their feet smelled like chicken and butter and garlic and all this stupid shit. And then AJ calls him out after making nice for a minute, even shaking one of their hands. He's like, look, do you think I'm fucking stupid? We just came back from a tour of India and you guys were by his side during that tour in his matches, and showed still pictures on the Tron of everything going on there. He ends up beating the shit out of the Singh brothers when Jinder Mahal comes out to watch, lays down the belt, challenges Jinder to come in the ring and fight him. Jinder doesn't. He backs off. And that was pretty much the end of it. Jinder would attack later on backstage AJ Styles when he was having a promo, I think, think with Renee Young, and Jinder attacked him there. So that's all they really did for this title match at Clash of Champions, and I think I'm going to change my pick. I'm going with a completely different pick than the one I speculated on a couple of weeks ago, and I can't wait to talk about Clash here in a minute, and we're going to get there soon because there wasn't a whole lot going on this show. Next up, we had Ruby Riott taking on Charlotte in a one-on-one match. This ended in a DQ. Natalya was on commentary for this. I think she attacked Charlotte when the rest of the Riott squad was out there. Then all the Lumberjacks showed up because, of course, Charlotte's taking on Natalya at the Clash in a Lumberjack match. So all the ladies got involved. It was a big brawl, and that was the end of that. Really nothing at all important coming out of that segment. Same goes with Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. They're having a match. Bobby Roode is on commentary. Same shit that we just saw in the last match. Corbin and Dolph find themselves both down in the ring. Roode just gets off headset, takes his robe off, jumps in the ring, and attacks both guys. Nails Dolph with a DDT and then nails Corbin with one as well. So that match was a DQ or thrown out or whatever the fuck there. So again, not much going on. There's a three-way this Sunday for the U.S. title, but as far as how they built this and how they, set up this match the final week going into the pay-per-view, it's shit, man. Nothing new, nothing different. They're just throwing these three guys together for the title. Maybe Bobby Roode can come out of this match with the belt. I might even predict him later on. But aside from that, it's a program that I don't care a whole hell of a lot about. One of the more interesting SmackDown matches, ironically, was the squash involving the Bludgeon Brothers. They took on a couple of jobbers, one of which was Colin Delaney. Remember him? Former ECW star, the relaunch ECW, that is, about maybe 10 years ago now, 07, 06, 08, somewhere in there. Am I right? I had completely forgotten about that guy. Don't even know what he's been up to, but I guess he's still wrestling. They brought him in to be a part of this squash. He looks a little bit older now. He's got some facial hair, and the hair on his head is a little bit shorter, or a lot shorter than it was when he was just a young pipsqueak on ECW. So really kind of crazy to see him in there. His partner was hilarious, let out this blood-curdling scream when the Bludgeon Brothers had him up in the air for a big move. I found that pretty entertaining, and it was pretty fun to see Colin Delaney back on WWE TV having a match. But it wasn't really much of a match. Harper and Rowan beat those kids in a couple of minutes there, and they're going to be facing Breezango at Clash of Champions because I think they streamed the latest edition of the Fashion Files or something with the Ascension and Breezango. The whole thing ended in Breezango agreeing to challenge the Bludgeon Brothers at Clash of Champions. So that whole thing is kind of funny there, and I guess a lot of people are saying that Breezango is going to turn out to be the heels in all of this because all of these cases are never getting solved, and it might turn out to be Breezango perpetrating all these crimes at the end of it. So who knows what the hell's going on there. I don't know if we'll find out anymore at Clash of Champions or not, or if this will just be a match that the Bludgeon Brothers will win. I don't know if I want to see the Bludgeon Brothers get into this goofy-ass shit. If WWE's really trying to portray these guys as a scary team, as an ass-kicking team that strikes fear into their opponents, if they start getting involved in this nonsense, that's out the fucking window. Right now, I'm still on the fence with Rowan and Harper. Wasn't a huge fan of the gimmick at all at first. I still kind of am not. I think it's just a little bit weird and hokey. But I like the fact that they changed up their look a little bit. Harper, I guess I should say, because they dropped Eric and Luke from these guys' names. We've seen that before with Neville and Rusev and guys like that, and Cesaro. So this is just another example of that, of WWE making stupid-ass random decisions to shorten these guys' names up. But I think Harper's in awesome shape, and I think this is the best rendition of the team that they've had so far. The music isn't horrible, but just the gimmick overall and those vignettes at first were just so weird. Give it time, maybe it can get over, but I'm not optimistic. Next up, we had a tag team match with the Usos taking on Rusev and Aiden English. Now, I'm loving the pairing of Rusev and English lately, especially English singing his songs. Last week, we were robbed of the 12 days of Rusev. Tonight, we got the rest of it. I thought they would stretch this out, and English would only get a couple of bars in at a time and somebody would interrupt. But luckily, we were treated to an absolutely beautiful song that brought a tear to my eye. And English was able to finish the whole thing, and it was beautiful. And thank you to everybody on Twitter that tweeted me Happy Rusev Day. I tried to retweet all of you, and that was really the best part of SmackDown. And it got even better because Rusev and English actually won this match. Rusev caught one of the Usos with his Machka kick or whatever on the outside of the ring, allowing Aiden English to nail him with his finisher and get the pin, and Rusev and English won. My only complaint with this match is, just like we saw in a couple of other matches already on this card, we had fucking guest commentators again. This time it was was the New Day on commentary. Normally, I would never complain about hearing these guys on headset because they're all hilarious. And Big E is always entertaining out there eating popcorn or pancakes or whatever the fuck. So that's not a huge deal, but it's just a recurring theme in the show. Every fucking match had one of these guest commentary spots, and it was just getting old. And it wouldn't end there either because we would have one in the main event. Aside from that, all we had other than the main event was the setup to this. And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn had a promo earlier on in the night. They have made themselves some YEP shirts. That's right, not Y-E-S, but Y-E-P. And they wanted to occupy SmackDown. They were going to attempt to do what Daniel Bryan did all those years ago when he got a title shot at WrestleMania. They wanted to do an Occupy SmackDown segment where a bunch of people came out to the ring and refused to leave until they got what they want. And Daniel Bryan then comes out and gets on the mic and kind of sort of sides with Zayn and Owens a little bit. And they're furthering this storyline between Bryan and Shane. I mean, something is going on here, and we really don't know what. It's really the best part of SmackDown right now because I'm actually a little bit confused which direction they're going to go here. I'm really hoping they swerve us. I'm really hoping they do something fun. Lately, a lot of us have been getting the feeling that maybe Daniel Bryan is going to do something at the Clash to help Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win, because really that's the only option here. These two guys' careers are on the line at the Clash of Champions. So how do you write them back in if you fire them? I know you can technically. If they get fired from all of WWE, you can still find a way to bring them back. Lots of different people can come back and overrule this. Stephanie, Triple H, Vince, whatever. It's an easy out, I guess, if they wanted to go all the way through with them losing and technically being fired by WWE. But it seems like the only real option here is to have them win somehow. So a lot of fans are predicting that Daniel Bryan is either number one, going to help them out, or number two, turn heel and help them out. I don't know if Daniel Bryan needs to be a heel. The fans still love him as much as they did years ago. And I don't know how great of a heel Daniel Bryan could be. And that's why I've been skeptical about this whole thing. And I'll talk about this here in a minute when I get into my predictions, is that I'm not sure if Daniel Bryan turning heel is really what's going to happen here. This might be a swerve. It might be Shane going heel. Shane technically is kind of being more heelish here. You know, and I don't know who's going to steal the heel heat from who here, if it's going to be Shane taking away from what is an awesome heel duo in Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I feel like these two guys, along with Orton and Shinsuke, are merely pawns in getting this Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan feud going. And this might lead to a match somewhere. I don't know if it's going to lead to a match at WrestleMania with Daniel Bryan getting back in the ring, or maybe it's a match where somebody wrestles on Daniel Bryan's behalf against Shane McMahon. Maybe Daniel Bryan brings somebody in from the independents. Maybe Daniel Bryan brings in Kenny Omega to work with Shane or something fucking crazy like that. Aside from that, it would be really nice if Daniel Bryan actually got in the ring, because the WWE sure is spending a lot of time making all of us think that there is going to be an issue between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, and a lot is going to happen on Sunday. Now, later on, when Daniel is out there cutting the promo with the two of them, he makes himself the second special guest referee at Clash of Champions. So we got two referees now. I don't know if one's going to be on the inside, one's going to be on the outside. If they're both going to be on the inside, this whole thing is a clusterfuck. This whole match between four great wrestlers, Zayn, Owens, Orton, and Shinsuke, the two people that really matter in this match are the fucking referees. How weird is that? So, you know, the stipulation is, if Owens and Zayn lose, they're out of the WWE. So, you know, Daniel Bryan and Shane are going to have a struggle there. Something's going to go on. And later on, the main event was Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Kevin Owens. Daniel Bryan was the guest commentator for this. Now, Shane McMahon wasn't even on the show. Daniel Bryan, I think, communicated with him on the phone in a segment or something like that. But Daniel Bryan is still remaining very respectful of Shane, says that he respects him and he stands by him and he always has his back, but he's not going to allow these two great talents to be sent out on their asses, because he understands what it's like to bust your ass on the independents for 15 years. He can relate to guys like that. Talked about his relationship with everybody involved in the match, Orton, Shinsuke, Owens, and Zayn. And during the match, the referee finally gets knocked out, and they kind of rehashed the same thing we already saw with Shane. They were doing this with Shane and Owens around Hell in the Cell time, when Shane was taking off the shirts and putting on the referee shirt and all that. Referee's knocked out. Daniel Bryan gets up from the commentary table, takes the referee's shirt off, puts it on, gets in the ring, and starts to officiate the match. Sami Zayn winds up getting involved, and Randy Orton runs him off. Amid all of the confusion, Kevin Owens is able to hit Shinsuke with the pop-up powerbomb, and Daniel Bryan is forced to count the 1, 2, 3. So once they did that, I was like, now I'm not sure if the Daniel Bryan turning heel and helping Owens and Zayn win is the most obvious thing here. I don't know if it's that predictable, especially the way SmackDown ended on Tuesday. So maybe, just maybe, there's another swerve at work here. Maybe they completely flip this thing upside down. Maybe this is a big ruse between Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn to get rid of Daniel Bryan. Maybe something happens in the match where Zayn and Owens win, and then after the match, the three of them, the two of them and Shane McMahon, align with each other and beat the fuck out of Daniel Bryan, writing him off of TV for a few weeks. He comes back around Royal Rumble time to challenge Shane McMahon to a match at WrestleMania. Winner gets full control of SmackDown, something like that. But clearly, they're doing something here. They're doing something with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. We have to hope that this means we're going to see Daniel Bryan in the ring, but I'm not 100% sold on that. They could still do something. It reminds me of 03 when Stone Cold couldn't wrestle, and he had the entire Survivor Series team wrestle on his behalf, and Shawn Michaels almost pulled it off and fought to the end on behalf of Steve. So maybe it's a situation like that, but I would love to see Daniel Bryan get back in the ring. They've talked about it. We've heard about it for months now. You know, some doctors are clearing him, but WWE doctors are not. WWE's very concerned, very worried, and very nervous, and rightfully so, to put him in the ring because if something did happen, you know, all of the liabilities there. So I can't necessarily blame WWE, but it's extremely frustrating when you see certain guys in the ring wrestling that you know Daniel Bryan is in better shape than, you know, namely Kurt Angle, maybe even Triple H. I mean, Triple H is in amazing shape, but, you know, he's older too, and he's a, you know, tiring veteran with lots of old injuries. And I wouldn't be surprised if Triple H has had a concussion or two in his life either. And not to mention Shane McMahon, who's dove off the top of buildings in some of his more recent pay-per-view matches at his age. It's kind of crazy. So, you know, it would be really cool if eventually this led to Daniel Bryan having some sort of a return match. Maybe it's just a one-off. Maybe it's not. You know, maybe it's one more match in the WWE to maybe convince him to resign. I don't know. Maybe it's WWE's way of trying to hold on to him, because if things stay the way they are, you got to know Daniel Bryan's not going to resign any contract when it runs out, and he will go wrestle somewhere else. So if WWE, if he's going to wrestle anyway, WWE might as well say, well, at least he can wrestle here under our protection. You know, if something happens to him elsewhere, you know, that's on him. Maybe they can protect him more if he's in WWE. I don't know. I'm just freestyling some thoughts there. I don't know what's going on, but I think whatever they do this Sunday better be fucking good, and it better lead to something. I don't know if it's going to be as simple as Daniel Bryan just helping Zayn and Owens win, and that's the end of it. Then we have an argument between Shane and Daniel Bryan, and they fight, and then they try to talk it out on SmackDown. There's cooler heads prevailing right now. Daniel Bryan and Shane, although they've had a couple of small disagreements, they've never really yelled at each other. They've never gotten in each other's face. And, you know, it's never heated up between the two of them. That really probably should happen at the pay-per-view. They don't want to stretch out this, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings shit too much between these two guys. Eventually, one of them's got to do something to the other. One of them has to severely piss off the other one or yell at the other one or something. Right now, it's just way too friendly. And that will probably change after the Clash. So I'll predict this match here in just a second, but I'd love to hear what you guys think might happen. What are your ideas? What do you think WWE can do? And what direction do you think they're going in this Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon saga? But that pretty much does it for SmackDown, aside from a backstage segment here or there I might have missed. That's all I really have written down for the show. Why don't we predict Clash of Champions now? I only have, according to WWE.com, I believe, I have 7 matches written down, and that's including one on the kickoff, so I suppose there's room to throw in one more. I don't know who that would be, maybe a women's match or something, but here is what I have. Kickoff show match is going to be Zack Ryder taking on Mojo Rawley one-on-one. You got to go with Mojo here. You know, they just did the heel turn. He needs to dispose of Zack Ryder and move on. Reminds me of Strikeforce when Rick Martel turned heel, and they wanted to kind of launch him as a heel. Of course, he's got to beat Tito Santana on the house show loop, so I think Mojo needs to beat Zack Ryder here, and that's probably what they're going to do. I just mentioned earlier on, Breezango challenging the Bludgeon Brothers. Aside from Ascension getting involved here and trying to, you know, fuck up the match or whatever, you got to go with Bludgeon Brothers. They're brand new on TV, recently debuted, all those vignettes, this big repackaging. No sense in beating them yet, so have the Bludgeon Brothers go over here, in my opinion. Dolph Ziggler taking on Baron Corbin and Bobby Roode, triple threat match for the U.S. title. Baron Corbin as champion. I'm going to go out on a limb here only because my other predictions, I want to try to have this card balanced out, baby faces and heels winning and maybe a title change or two. And here is a match where I am predicting a title change. I think Bobby Roode will win the U.S. title. Why not? Might as well, right? In a match that I'm actually really looking forward to, even though it's kind of clusterfucky, we've got a fatal four-way for the tag team titles. It's going to be the Usos defending against the New Day, Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, and Rusev and Aiden English. Now, aside from putting the belts on Rusev and English here, because they kind of are a new hot act in WWE, they're very over, aside from putting the belts on them, I don't really see any reason for the Usos to drop the belts here. And plus, Rusev and English, I think they're doing just fine without any sort of a tag team title, at least right now. They can win them in the future. I just don't feel like this is a good time for the Usos to drop the belt, especially that long feud they had with the New Day, and the Hell in the Cell match and all that shit. I think the Usos should hang on to the belts for a little while longer. So I'm picking the Usos to retain there. Now, here's one that might surprise you. I'm actually predicting a title change in the Natalya versus Charlotte match for the SmackDown Women's title. This is a lumberjack match. Whole bunch of girls are going to be involved. The latest storyline on SmackDown with the girls is that the Riott Squad is there, interfering and kicking everybody's ass and causing a huge disturbance in the women's division on SmackDown. To me, it seems like a really good opportunity to get the belt off of Charlotte because she can still save face. All the girls can get involved. There can be all sorts of interference and fucked up stuff, and Natalya can score a roll-up or cheat to win or whatever, and Natalya can kind of win in a shady way. Plus, if the Riott Squad is involved in this, that would piss off Charlotte and further that whole storyline. Charlotte is going to be out for revenge. If she just retains, then there's really nowhere to go. The Riott Squad doesn't cause that much of a disturbance if she winds up retaining the belt anyway. But if Natalya winds up winning because of all sorts of outside interference, then that can just further the whole Riott Squad storyline, and that's what I think they need to do. So I'm going to predict Natty to regain the SmackDown Women's Championship at the Clash of Champions. I'm probably one of the only people picking her to win. And here's where it gets interesting, because now we're on to the big two final matches. We don't know which one is going to be the main event. And I think as wrestling fans, what we all need to hope for is that Owens and Zayn and Shinsuke and Orton are last. We got to hope that that tag team match with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon is the main event. Because if it is, I don't see Jinder regaining the WWE title if he's not in the main event, if it's not the last thing you see on Clash of Champions. So I'm going to go ahead and predict that match next, hoping that for once the WWE title is not the main event. If AJ and Jinder takes place earlier on in the card, I'm going to predict AJ to win, retain the title, go into 2018, potentially go into WrestleMania to face Shinsuke Nakamura, who could win the Royal Rumble. I've mentioned this in the past couple of weeks. That would be a really, really, really fun direction for them to go in, especially for the fans, and especially since we're probably going to get Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and if we get that predictable type of match, that WWE can balance it out and counter that with a good match and reward the wrestling fans that might want to see some good wrestling here and a big-time match for the WWE title between AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura. That shit could be epic at WrestleMania. So regardless, actually, whether or not this match is in the main event, I think I'm going to predict AJ either way here. I had mentioned right when Jinder dropped the belt that it seemed kind of out of left field, seemed out of nowhere, seemed like a spur-of-the-moment decision, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense. Even though I was thrilled that AJ won the title over in Manchester, I was like, why did they do that? They probably just did that so the match with Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series wouldn't suck. But here we are. AJ is now the favorite to retain the title here, and I hope he does. I just don't think there's a reason to put the title back on Jinder. I was kind of predicting him to win earlier on because WWE did invest a lot in this character, making him or trying to make him a main event player. I think he needed to be around the world title a little bit longer than this to really achieve that, because previously he was a jobber, and the fans really never even took him seriously during his title run. So I think if they made him a multi-time champion, gave him a little bit of a run, maybe for a solid year, then after that he's kind of up there, mid-card to main event talent, regardless of whether or not he has a belt or not. But I don't think that those plans really worked. So I think AJ needs to hold on to the belt here. He's the much more respected guy. Plus, SmackDown is a mess right now. Fans really aren't into it. The past few shows have not been that good. At least with a champion that everybody enjoys seeing, you got that going for you. If you put the belt back on Jinder, to me, he just doesn't get any heat. And I think in one of my last commentaries, somebody criticized me for saying that. What do you mean Jinder doesn't get heat? He gets the most heat of any heel ever. I'm like, what fucking show are you watching? Jinder doesn't get heat because of what he says on the mic or because of his character. He gets heat because he just sucks. It's different. It's different than JBL heat. JBL got legitimate heat because people just hated him. They knew he was a douchebag. He came off as one. Nobody ever had anything nice to say about him. There's the bullying stories and all of that. Where Jinder doesn't have that same kind of heat. There's no reason to hate Jinder Mahal. He's not that good on the mic, and what he says on the mic, to me, never gets me riled up. To me, never makes me hate him. You know, it's just very, very generic heel shit that's never really gotten over. So I believe Jinder has heat, but for the wrong reasons. I believe Jinder has heat for the same reasons Roman Reigns has heat. The fans just don't want to see him, and they definitely don't want to see him as WWE champion. So it's kind of like that. So, you know, as far as Jinder's days of being champion go, I think they need to be over. I don't want to see him win the belt back. I'm still a little bit terrified that he will on Sunday, but I'm going to stick to my guns here, and I hope that WWE at least goes in a decent direction with one world title going into WrestleMania, because if Jinder Mahal wins, that just makes me think it's going to be Jinder and Cena at WrestleMania, and I would rather dig my eyes out with an olive fork. So hopefully it will be AJ Styles retaining. He'll go into next year to successfully retain at the Royal Rumble and Fastlane, or whatever the hell the next SmackDown pay-per-view is after that, go into WrestleMania to face the winner of the Royal Rumble, because we don't want Roman winning it on the Raw side, so have a SmackDown guy win it. Shinsuke Nakamura would be the perfect guy. I think the fans in Philly would love that. And then we get the big epic clash between AJ and Shinsuke at Mania for the belt. That's what they need to do. So hopefully they will. But I am predicting AJ to retain on Sunday. Now, in what might be the main event, or it might not, we don't know yet, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, of course, taking on Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura in a tag team match. If Owens and Zayn lose, they're out of the WWE. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon are both special guest referees for this match. This one is a little bit tougher to predict than I thought. I thought it was going to be pretty cut and dry. Daniel Bryan would help out Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win somehow, and that would lead to a conflict between him and Shane McMahon. But what we saw on Tuesday night, Daniel Bryan already did that. He counted down Shinsuke and gave the victory to Kevin Owens, and then the announcers are like, oh my God, is he going to do that again this Sunday? Which makes me think he isn't. So they might go, like I mentioned earlier, in a really crazy direction. Swerve us, have Shane McMahon be the one to turn heel, because I think Shane McMahon would make a better heel than Daniel Bryan, wouldn't you think? Daniel Bryan, I don't know how good of a heel he can be. You know, the fans love this guy, so if it was up to me, I'd keep him babyface. So I'm almost thinking WWE is going to have Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura win this match somehow. And maybe that pisses off Daniel Bryan. Maybe him and Shane are kind of, you know, they're arguing throughout the match, you know, some missed opportunities, some missed 3 counts. Maybe Owens and Zayn have the match won a couple of times, but Daniel Bryan and Shane are arguing so much that they don't count the 3. And then later on, Randy Orton and Shinsuke find a way to win. Shane McMahon counts the 3 count. Owens and Zayn are quote-unquote fired. And then on Tuesday on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan is pissed off. Hey, this wasn't fair. You know, we spent the whole time arguing with each other, and Owens and Zayn got screwed. And maybe they bring him back in and give him one more chance. Okay, fine. If Owens and Zayn win another match, then they get their jobs back. Maybe Vince McMahon comes out and has a say in this. I don't know. Maybe Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan get physical. Maybe Shane gets pissed and attacks Daniel Bryan, either at the Clash or either at the following SmackDown show. Either one. But whatever they do here, I think it's going to surround Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. So I'm going to go out on a crazy limb here. I think everybody and their mother are predicting Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to win this match somehow. But I'm going to go in the opposite direction. I think Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura are going to win this match. And it's going to lead to more conflict between Shane and Daniel Bryan. Owens and Zayn will find their way back in. They can write them back in. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of different ways that they can get those guys their jobs back on television. They can easily write a scenario where that happens. This storyline is really centered around Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon anyway, so if you do something funny like that and Owens and Zayn lose and get screwed, they can be brought back in. There's a lot of different things they can do. So I'm going to just be a little bit different because the Clash seems a little bit like a lackluster pay-per-view. Don't know how fun it's going to be, and why not get crazy with my predictions? So I think Randy Orton and Shinsuke will win that. So just to recap, I got Mojo beating Zack. I've got the Bludgeon Brothers beating Breezango. I've got Bobby Roode winning the U.S. title. I've got Natalya winning the women's title. I've got the Usos retaining the tag team titles, AJ retaining the world title, and Shinsuke Nakamura and Randy Orton beating Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, ending their WWE careers and the furthering of the storyline between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. Don't know if we're going to see a heel turn or not between either one of those two. We could. I would like to see some big swerve take place at Clash. I would like to see either Daniel Bryan or Shane go heel on the other. But part of me also thinks that they could stretch that out, do some sort of a finish in this tag team match to where everybody's got to tune in on Tuesday to SmackDown to see the fallout from this and what actually happens between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, and maybe you do the heel turn there. But there you go. Those are my Clash of Champions predictions, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Speaking of the Clash, I will be up here live tweeting on Sunday during the show. I plan to be off all day, and then after, I am going to come up and do a live review. Let's now backtrack and talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw before I get out of here. Now, the big match on Monday Night Raw, of course, was the main event. It was announced earlier on in the day that Kane would be taking on Braun Strowman, and the winner would actually get a shot at Brock Lesnar for the title at the Royal Rumble. And this surprised the hell out of a lot of us, surprised the hell out of me. And initially, it was getting a ton of shit on Twitter. Everybody was shitting all over this idea. And, and I'm thinking in my head, to me, the obvious choice there is Braun Strowman. He's going to have to beat Kane, but we've already seen Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. Brock beat him back in September or whenever it was. What's the point of beating him again? Does Brock need to be made anymore? Do you need to do that to Braun Strowman? He was able to bounce back from his loss to Roman Reigns at Fastlane, had an awesome summer, and dominated everybody, including Roman Reigns, along the way. Then he ran into Brock, got F5'd and pinned. Kind of felt like it killed everything, but he picked up right where he left off, went on another tear. He was very dominant throughout the month of October and November and Survivor Series and all of that, and now he's in this feud with Kane. You would think that he would come out on the winning end of this feud, and then what? Go in to face Brock and get beat again and kill all of his momentum again? What the fuck? We saw the tease too at Survivor Series with him and Triple H. I don't know where that's leading. Maybe if Braun Strowman has a match with Brock, maybe he has him beat. And then Triple H winds up interfering, costing Strowman the match, so at least Strowman doesn't lose clean like he did before. And then you go with what? Strowman and Triple H at WrestleMania? That's fucking horrible. To me, I think Triple H believes he's still a credible opponent to a lot of these monsters. We saw him book himself in those matches with Brock Lesnar. Of course, Brock Lesnar beat him, but Triple H had to come back and get a win, right? Against Brock at WrestleMania. I hated that. Recently, he's just working with a lot of top guys, but putting them over, which is fine. So at least you know that if we do get Triple H versus Braun Strowman at WrestleMania, Strowman is probably going to win. But is that really that surprising? Triple H has lost to everybody else at WrestleMania recently. He lost to Roman Reigns. He lost to Seth Rollins. So if he goes into WrestleMania to face Braun Strowman, he's going to lose and put Braun Strowman over. Great, no problem there. But wouldn't you like to see more for Braun Strowman? I mean, at least this does give him a high-profile match with Triple H, but it's predictable. It's what Triple H has been doing in recent years, trying to put over some of the new talent. But this is a match that I just don't think needs to happen in any way. And it's not going to be believable. And plus, if it takes place at WrestleMania, that means Triple H is going to take Braun Strowman to the limit. This guy has demolished everybody, and Triple H is the guy that almost beats him. I just don't know. I'm just not really enamored with that direction. But if it's Braun Strowman getting the title shot, you got to think that might be the direction they go in, having Triple H cost him the belt. Otherwise, he's going to get beat clean by Brock, and that sucks. But on the other hand, if it turns out to be Kane, I've been saying forever, I've been talking until I've been blue in the face about Kane having a retirement match. And I mentioned that Braun Strowman should be that guy, one final program for Kane, put over the next monster, and ride off into the sunset. You've had a marvelous career, 20 years as the Kane character. You're a fucking legend. But I think it's time for Glenn Jacobs to think about hanging it up, and hanging it up in a memorable way. Wouldn't you like to see that for Kane? You don't want to see Kane just fade away. You want to see him have some sort of a send-off or some sort of a final match. And I got to thinking about the Royal Rumble in 1998, right after he debuted. 20-year anniversary of that show is coming up next month in January. So maybe, we saw that casket match in 1998. How did that pay-per-view go off the air? It went off the air with a casket set on fire with The Undertaker inside. Maybe they can do something like that with Kane at the Royal Rumble. Kind of an homage to that historic night back in 1998, and maybe Kane loses a career match to Brock or something, or to Strowman or whatever. He's put in a casket and set on fire. I don't know if the PG era will allow that. We know we're going to see Taker on the 25th anniversary of Raw, so that's right around this time. Maybe Taker can have a hand in this or something. I don't know. Maybe that 25th anniversary Raw could be Kane's retirement night. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know what the hell they're going to do. But it looks like right now it's not settled, because Kane and Braun Strowman had that number one contender match on Raw, but it ended in a countout or a disqualification. I think it was a countout when they were brawling on the outside of the ring. They went through the guard barrier there, and then the referee called for the bell, and they proceeded to brawl throughout the rest of the show. So nothing has been settled here at all. And next week on Monday Night Raw, Brock Lesnar will be on the show with Paul Heyman. We thought they would already know who the number one contender will be by then, but they won't. So now we got to wonder, what is the WWE going to do about this? Are they going to have another match between Braun Strowman and Kane, where there's a stipulation involved and we will actually have a winner and we'll find out who the number one contender will be? Or will they do a completely separate match and add other guys in there? Maybe some Shield guys, maybe Finn Balor, maybe Samoa Joe, I don't know. all of those guys seem to be tied up with each other right now. The Shield are kind of feuding with Samoa Joe and The Bar. So those 6 guys kind of feel occupied right now, so I don't know if any of them really fit in this. And, a lot of people have been talking about Finn Balor. He was kind of in line to get a title shot. I think that he will. I mentioned this in my live stream that the thing about Finn Balor is that I understand the story that WWE and maybe Vince McMahon has soured on him or doesn't think that he has charisma or, is a big draw or whatever their problems are with him. I still think Finn is not going away. I still think Finn will be getting some title shots. The problem is right now the title is not on the show. Brock has it. Once we get on the other side of Mania and Brock drops the belt and the Universal title is on Raw every single week, then there's going to be more title opportunities for everybody, and Finn will be one of those people. He's the first ever Universal Champion, for fuck's sake. You cannot ignore that. No matter how much WWE wants to, they can't. So Finn is going to have to at least get some title shots, you would think, in 2018. Whether it's at the Royal Rumble versus Brock, I don't know. It's not looking likely. So I guess next week or maybe this week, on WWE's Twitter page or whatever, they might announce some sort of a match between Kane and Braun Strowman next week on Raw, where they do a stipulation to where we actually have to get a winner. Maybe it's no DQ, maybe it's in a cage. I don't know what the fuck. Brock and Heyman will be there, of course, so maybe they can get involved. Who knows? But hopefully in the next week or so, we will find out who Brock will be facing at the Royal Rumble. So if it turns out to be Kane or Braun Strowman, I kind of laid out some storyline ideas for what they would do with those guys. But if not, I would like to hear what all of you guys have to say about that. Now, I also mentioned some of the other top contenders. The Shield, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins. They're all tied up right now with Sheamus, Cesaro, and Samoa Joe. And there was 3 pretty good matches on Monday Night Raw. So we saw Sheamus taking on Seth Rollins in a pretty good match. Seth won, I believe, with his finisher, and Sheamus took some hellacious bumps in that match. And there's been the story that I read recently about him having that neck injury, that spinal stenosis or whatever it is, similar to what Austin and Edge had that forced them to retire. He's kind of got the same thing. It's kind of career-threatening. Don't know any other details on it other than that right now. Judging by the way that he was bumping around in the ring on Monday, it looks like he's working through it without a problem, but it could shorten his career, and I don't know if he's going to have a future surgery or something like that, but want to wish Sheamus the best. I know we give Sheamus a lot of shit, but I think he's kind of been reborn in his alliance with Cesaro. I love that tag team, and I don't hate Sheamus so much anymore. He was really driving me crazy a couple of years ago when they randomly put the belt back on him and that whole deal, and it felt kind of weird. I mean, if we thought we hated Roman as champion, Sheamus was even worse. And I was glad to see them get away from that. But really, I have nothing against Sheamus, and I wish him nothing but the best. And I hope that this injury does not shorten his career too badly here. Roman Reigns and Cesaro had a hell of a match on Raw as well. This was actually an Intercontinental title match. Now, this match was great and a lot of fun. And both guys worked incredibly hard. The problem with it was predictable as hell. Because do you really see Roman Reigns dropping the Intercontinental title in a random match to Cesaro in December right now? He just won the belt. Word on the street is that he's going to be winning the Universal title at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. Most likely, this is what they have planned for Roman Reigns, to be their guy, to be launched at Mania even more. He's already had some pretty big Mania main events already. Looks like he's set to have one more. To drop the belt clean to Cesaro here is something that we just weren't going to see. And it's a shame, too, because, man, the near falls in this match were incredible. I swear Cesaro had Roman down a couple of times for 2 9/10. Even one very close 3 count. Roman barely kicks out, only for Cesaro to roll him right into a crossface, which was awesome. Cesaro worked the shit out of Roman Reigns' arm. Just a really, really good wrestling match. But in the end, predictably, Roman Reigns got the pin with the spear, and that's just what we were going to see there. Roman Reigns wasn't going to drop that belt to Cesaro on Raw, and I think that's what pissed a lot of fans off. On Twitter, when Twitter was going so crazy after this match, very few people were talking about the quality of the match, and everybody was talking about the outcome. And they were pissed off that Roman Reigns won again, and I'm like, what the fuck do you expect? This is the guy going into Mania next year, to win the world title. He's not going to lose clean to a guy in Cesaro's position right now. Doesn't mean Cesaro's not worthy, doesn't mean Cesaro doesn't deserve opportunities, so don't shit all over your hands here. I'm just saying that Roman wasn't going to drop the belt to that guy on that night. Wasn't going to happen. So why, if it wasn't going to happen, did WWE go through with the match anyway? I mean, it was a good match. It was fun to watch, but, they killed those guys. Those guys went out there and killed themselves for no reason when nobody in that audience and nobody watching at home on TV thought Cesaro had a chance to win that match, no matter how close he came. And that was the one negative in that match, I feel, is that it just wasn't believable. Roman's not going to drop that belt right now to anybody, especially a guy that's already involved in a tag team feud. and a tag team title feud with his partner and another team. It just wasn't the right place. So everybody that was complaining and bitching about it being predictable, you're right. Congratulations. I agree with you 1,000,000% it was. But it was still a good match. And, at the end of the day, I was fine with it. Samoa Joe also took on Dean Ambrose. Jason Jordan got involved in that. Jason Jordan, as lame as ever. He was whining to Kurt backstage again, eventually got mad at Kurt Angle, didn't even call him dad, called him Kurt, and stormed out like a little 9-year-old fucking kid. So he gets involved in the Samoa Joe and Dean Ambrose match. Joe winds up choking out Dean during all the confusion, and that was the end of that. So, I guess at, WWE's next big Raw, which will be Christmas Day. Maybe we're going to get a 6-man match with The Bar and Joe versus The Shield. I'm not sure what they're doing there, but, Samoa Joe is also going to be getting a title shot, obviously, against Roman Reigns for the IC belt. Samoa Joe, now that's a match that if they do with Roman, you actually think that Samoa Joe could win. This wouldn't be that predictable. I still think Roman should hang on to the belt for a while, especially if he's heading into Mania, but, Samoa Joe as Intercontinental Champion would be great. And I mentioned in my last commentary that it didn't feel like right now was a really good time to put the belt on Samoa Joe either, unless they stretch this out a bit. If you can make it into early 2018, maybe the Royal Rumble or right after or right before, have some sort of a scenario where Roman gets fucked out of the belt, you put the title on Joe, Roman can move on to Mania, maybe the Shield can even break up, maybe Dean Ambrose can turn heel, cost Roman the title, something like that. I have no problem with Samoa Joe being Intercontinental Champion, I just don't want to see it next week on Raw. Give Roman a little bit of a run, he's got to string up some victories here if he's heading into Mania. And plus we don't know what's going to go on at the Royal Rumble. We got to hope that he's not going to win the Royal Rumble match. Hopefully that's going to go to a SmackDown guy like Shinsuke, and then Roman can earn a title shot some other way. And I've pitched the idea of him being Intercontinental Champion throughout all of this and coming out on Raw after the Royal Rumble claiming that he's the champion on Raw and just flat out challenges Brock Lesnar. Maybe they set up a match at the in-between pay-per-view where Roman has to earn his shot, much like he did a couple of years ago at Fastlane when he beat Daniel Bryan and got the title shot, I think, or whatever they did there. So it might be a scenario like that. I don't know. But I don't think Roman Reigns necessarily has to go into WrestleMania as the Intercontinental Champion, but I also don't want to really see him drop it right now either. So I at least think throughout the duration of 2017, Roman should hang on to the belt. That's just my opinion. Aside from that, on Raw, not too much to get into. You guys can check out my live review on Monday if you want to see some more detailed results. I do want to mention, though, the Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy stuff. That was not nearly as good this week as it was the week before. It seemed a little bit too overdone for me. I think these two guys need to get in the ring and start creating magic with each other in the ring, on the microphone. And I mentioned in my live review that, Bray Wyatt could maybe replace what Jeff Hardy was doing previously in TNA. Jeff Hardy is on the shelf right now, injured. Maybe Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy can have some compound matches, some final deletion matches, or whatever the fuck, and do something to where Bray becomes broken, maybe after Matt Hardy beats him in some hokey-ass gimmick match. Then Bray turns into what Jeff Hardy was, and he becomes Brother Nero Part 2 or something. I don't know. I think maybe whatever they do eventually leads to an alliance between Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. Maybe Bray Wyatt, falls under Matt Hardy's spell. It would be weird to see Bray Wyatt outside of the leadership role. He's always been the leader of a faction or any other alliance that he's been associated with. This time he would be the follower. He would be under the control of Matt Hardy. That might be interesting. I don't know. It might completely fail, but it might be good. So they started off really strong a week ago when Matt Hardy showed up and interrupted the Bray Wyatt promo. This week on Raw was still funny at times, but not great. So we have to hope that they start doing some in-ring stuff and start leading to whatever sort of gimmicky, weird-ass match they're going to eventually have between these two. But we've got a lot of time to kill. Royal Rumble is a long ways off. So WWE's got to fill some time here on Monday Night Raw for the next several weeks, and that's why we've been seeing a whole lot of nothing lately. Aside from that, the only thing worth mentioning is the Cruiserweight situation. They did another Fatal 4-Way. This time it was Mustafa Ali, Tony Nese, Cedric Alexander, and Daivari. It was being called a second chance match, and the only reference WWE made to the Rich Swann situation was when Michael Cole said that Rich Swann's opportunity at the title had been revoked. Rich Swann, of course, as most of you I'm sure know by now, was arrested over the weekend for battery and false imprisonment. Holy shit. Apparently, he got in an argument with his wife in the car while they were driving home. She is also a wrestler. Her real name, I believe, is Vanara Riggs, and she wrestles on the indie scene as Sue Young. And they were driving home from somewhere, got in an argument, it got heated. She apparently exited the car, got out of the car, and according to eyewitnesses, Rich Swann got out, grabbed a hold of her, drug her back to the car, put her in a headlock, and the whole deal. Apparently, she was screaming for help in the car, and, there was just a lot of physicality going on there, and this is not good. Considering how disposable most of the cruiserweight wrestlers are, I can't see Rich Swann coming back. I mean, this doesn't sound like, I know a lot of people say innocent until proven guilty, and that's true. And I'm sure that he's probably going to find a way to avoid jail time here. A lot of these charges are punishable by jail time. But I think at the end of the day, this was probably an argument between him and his wife. Things have probably settled down. I'm sure he'll have to go through maybe some therapy or community service or something like that. I bet you at the end of this, he's going to avoid jail time. But he might not be able to avoid getting released by the WWE. They don't really need him. Rich Swann is a great athlete, former cruiserweight champion. He's a part of 205 Live, but he's not such a big part of it that he would be missed. A lot of these guys are pretty much interchangeable with the exception of Enzo and a couple of others. So it really sucks for his career that he got himself into this situation because he could be out of a job. And these cruiserweights are on such thin ice anyway. It seems like any of them could get released, at any time. And then Rich Swann has a situation like this come up, and it ain't good. So I know technically nothing has been proven, but there was enough people saying that they saw what happened. This sounds legit. I don't think it's a made-up story. I don't think it's a misunderstanding. I think it's a fight between him and his wife that got out of control. Rich Swann got physical. Apparently this guy has some sort of a temper. They haven't been together very long, married for a little while, I think. But this just sounds really fucked up. I feel really bad for the wife. I mean, I'm sure this was terrifying if it all went down the way she said and the way eyewitnesses are saying. Sounds like she was in a pretty terrifying situation there. So, Rich Swann totally busted. And, I guess from here, I don't know what's gonna happen with his WWE career. I mean, he's suspended indefinitely. I guess WWE's going to wait and see how these charges fall, what he gets convicted of, and decides from there whether or not to bring him back. But I have a feeling, from a public relations standpoint, there's really no reason to bring him back. Just cut ties with him. WWE doesn't want anything to do with this. And maybe let that be a lesson to future WWE talent. Don't get in these crazy-ass fights with your spouse, and certainly don't be putting your hands on them or beating them or anything like that. So if that happens, I think there should be a zero-tolerance policy, which is what WWE came out and said. And, Rich Swann apparently has fucked up. A lot of opinions on social media about the situation, too. Oh, GoodMicWork, what if she was going crazy and going nuts and all of that? Hey, I understand. I've seen a woman going nuts before. I know they can be difficult to deal with, but you do not put your hands on them, put them in headlocks, and drag them into cars or homes and imprison them. That's not what you do. There's other ways to deal with it. And I know a lot of couples and a lot of spouses all over the world fight, and some of them fight violently, and that's a shame. But if you're going to be in the public eye and shit, you got to be extra careful, and something like that is going to land you out of a job. So my best wishes goes out to both of them. I don't know if they can reconcile here, if they will stay together, if they're going to divorce, or whatever the fuck happens in their personal life. It's not my business. It's none of our business. It's just theirs. Wish them both the best of luck. I hope she can move on from this. I hope Rich Swann gets the help that he needs. If he does have some sort of an anger management issue, he needs to get that under control because it's only going to end badly in the future for him. So, pretty effed up situation, and WWE is moving on with business as usual. So they did another cruiserweight match. Cedric Alexander won this match. Wasn't as good as the four-way the week before, but then again, it was kind of thrown together at the last minute. WWE wasn't expecting to do this match, so I guess they did what they could with it. Drew Gulak was on commentary throughout this whole thing, and he will now face Cedric Alexander. I don't know if that's next week. I think it is, and the winner becomes the new number one contender for the cruiserweight title. I kind of see Drew Gulak winning this right now. He's kind of a new character. He's getting over with the audience. I thought he was great on the commentary team. I mentioned on Monday that Booker T better be careful. His job could be in jeopardy here. I think Drew Gulak would be amazing on the mic behind the commentary table with Corey Graves and shit like that. So I really like Drew Gulak. So I think he should find a way to beat Cedric Alexander in their number one contenders match. And then whether or not he goes on to beat Enzo, I don't know. I doubt it. I think Enzo needs to hold on to the belt for a little while longer and keep rolling there. Plus, those guys are friends. Drew Gulak is in the Zo train or the Zotourage or whatever it's called. So I don't know really where they're going with that, but I guess we'll find out more next week. They did do another segment as well backstage where Nia Jax approached Enzo. They're probably going with some sort of a love angle here. Pretty crazy. And we'll have to see how that develops. So that's really all I'm going to mention about Monday Night Raw. Like I said, just click the top right-hand corner there of the screen if you want to see my live review from Monday, and you can hear me talk about more of Monday Night Raw. Just a couple of things I do want to talk about before I get out of here. One of them is the awesome build between Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. Of course, they're going to wrestle one-on-one at Wrestle Kingdom 12 next year on January 4th. That match was announced a few weeks ago. I kind of thought it was going to be a one-shot deal. Jericho would come in, work the one match, and that would be it. But no, they're actually building this. They're making an angle out of it, and it's a good one. Kenny Omega, over the weekend, at a New Japan show, was in the ring, and the lights go out. Chris Jericho comes up on the screen, cuts a promo. When the lights come back on, Chris Jericho is standing right behind Omega and attacks him, hits him with the code breaker, nails him with the title belt, busting Omega open, and he bleeds in the whole deal, and it's a vicious attack, and it was awesome. The next night, I believe, there was a Wrestle Kingdom 12 press conference, and Jericho was sitting at the table there answering questions, and he's ambushed by Kenny Omega. He jumps in, dives across the table, starts wailing away on Chris Jericho, nailing him with punches. Jericho ends up getting up and throws the whole table at Omega, and Jericho gets a few shots in as well. They have to be separated. There's photographers everywhere, and it was great. It was fucking awesome. I think this is a dream match for the fans. It's nice to see, and it's fun to see Jericho going off and doing something else fun. This is exactly the type of shit that Jericho likes to do. I don't know what this is going to mean for his future in WWE. I'm sure he has the freedom to go off and do stuff like this. I don't know if WWE is going to be too crazy about bringing him back. Maybe this is a way to bring Omega into the WWE. I mentioned this right from the beginning, right when they first announced this match. Wouldn't it be cool if they did a rematch in a WWE ring? It would be unlikely, but it would be cool. And plus, we've got the Royal Rumble coming up. Every year around Royal Rumble time, we speculate on surprise entrants, and Kenny Omega could be one of those guys. Maybe, just maybe. Maybe they could even work Mania or something like that. That's looking way ahead. And I don't know if a guy like Omega, who's not really been on WWE, if he comes in and takes up a Mania match, I don't think that would be fair to the rest of the talent either. So it would be cool to see if this goes beyond January 4th, whether it's in Japan or whether it's here in the States. Who knows? But right now, the fans are having a ton of fun watching this angle. It looks like Jericho and Omega are having fun doing it, and the match is going to be awesome on January 4th. And I'm now looking even more forward to this match than I already was. The only other news I wanted to mention before I get out of here is the porn star that talks shit about wrestling and WWE. I mentioned this on Monday, but I didn't get too in-depth on it. But this girl's name is Mia Khalifa. I looked her up, and apparently, I guess she doesn't do porn anymore. She did do porn, hasn't done porn in a while. She was on some sort of a sports talk show, and they had asked her about Ronda Rousey, and she started kind of crapping on the WWE and wrestling in general, saying that Ronda Rousey is taking a step back and a step down, and that wrestling isn't a real sport, and she has no respect for wrestling, and just really insulted wrestling, which was hilarious given what this fucking girl does for a living, or did for a living. This girl got paid to take buckets of jizz on her face, and she's going to criticize somebody else's profession? That is insane. And that's about as hypocritical as you can get. And a lot of people freaked out. You know, this girl should have known better that when you fuck with the wrestling audience, you have no idea what you're fucking with because they're all psycho. And they came after this girl hard. Gregory Helms had a savage response to her, talking about her body taking a pounding just like wrestlers' bodies do. I tweeted out something funny, kind of taking a little jab at her or whatever, but some people were being way over the top. You know, some people were, oh, this bitch needs to get cancer. I hope she got AIDS in the porn industry and she died and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, at the end of the day, does anybody really care what somebody else thinks about pro wrestling? I don't give a fuck. I think the issue here was the way she kind of worded it. You know, she really looked down on wrestling and kind of insulted it a little bit, calling it a joke, and she has no respect for it. So I can understand that that would annoy some people, including myself, and we might have something to say about it on social media. But to start going over the top to the point where people are now coming to her defense, a lot of people were saying, hey, give this girl a break, stop slut-shaming her, you shouldn't be bullying her now or whatever. So apparently it got so bad that even wrestling fans were running to her defense. Me, at the end of the day, I literally don't care. I couldn't believe that this story became as big a story as it did. But I do think some fans that were over the top with it and wanted to wish this girl dead and everything, that's incredibly out of line. You know, everybody is entitled to their opinion. And you're more than welcome to go on Twitter and tweet her something and say, hey, you're a fucking idiot for saying that or whatever. But, you know, wishing her dead, come on. Let's get a hold of ourselves here. It's not that big a deal. So, you know, I don't think anything like bullying or slut shaming should be going around. The porn industry is very strange. There's a lot of girls that get involved in that have had very tumultuous lives. Some have been molested. They always have some really crazy stories. As a matter of fact, when I was looking up who this girl was, I just came across another porn star that just killed herself like a week ago. which was really sad. And she was all depressed and shit. And she was arguing with people on Twitter and eventually took her life. So I didn't want to see people pester this girl because I have no idea what her mental state is. She might be complete of sound mind and body, no issues at all. But, if she's somebody with a troubled past or something, I don't want to push this girl over the edge to do something crazy, especially when one of them just killed themselves this week. So to me, I thought everybody should just calm down. If somebody wants to insult wrestling, let them, as far as I'm concerned. But, if you want to crack a little joke or, give her some shit on social media for what she said, then that's the price she has to pay for saying that. If she wants to wrestle shame us, she needs to expect that she's probably going to get slut shamed in return. That's just life. That's just reality. But I just think there's a line that you shouldn't cross. When you say, hey, I disagree with you, or I might make fun of you a little bit, or poke some fun, crack a little joke. There's a difference between that and saying, oh my God, I hope this bitch dies of AIDS. So sometimes I just wish the fans were a little bit more mature, is all. But at the end of the day, that story was not a big deal to me at all. And I'm surprised that it became one. So anyway, I think that's it for me for this week. I think I am done. Like I said earlier, check the YouTube channel this Sunday night immediately after Clash of Champions. I will be up here with a live review. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll drink some beer. We'll talk about the show, and we'll chit-chat. So until then, you guys have a great rest of your week. Leave me all your thoughts on Raw and SmackDown and how bad everything sucks right now, and your predictions for the Clash and what you think might take place at the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and everything else that I talked about in this episode. Feel free to discuss it below, and I will talk to you guys on Sunday night. So take care of yourselves, and I will catch you then. Until next time, peace.